You're selling out Sydney Opera House, Hammersmith Apollo here. I mean, there are thousands and thousands of people coming to see you. I can't believe you're that funny when people go to see you. Like, what do you make of this phenomenon? Are there people like you that are doing this?
Well, I realized at some point that I was never going to be in the best shape. I was never going to be the most experienced. I was never going to be the most muscular. But I found an ability to I'd listen to a podcast on caffeine for an hour, bored out of my mind, but I'd be excited because I can use that knowledge in maybe a year's time and do it in an educative way where people need to be educated on social media. So I even I learned a lot about the female menstrual cycle to help women. But when I presented the talk, I spoke to the guys in the crowd. So I was like, hey guys, this is the part of the menstrual cycle you think's bad. It's actually quite good. And then I'd say like, this is ovulation. This is where they're most fertile. And, they lift their best weights. But, and I was almost like crude, but the women are laughing because they're like, oh my God, that's my cycle. But the guys never really understood. And I'd be like, this is when they're going to be cranky. So if you've got a lad's trip, be careful. So I was not misogynistic with it, but I could take it out of context and actually have some laughs with it, where I'm educating the guys on a menstrual cycle while the girlfriends are laughing because they go, oh my God, that's so true. But it's almost my way. The only thing I don't want to do is bore someone.
Okay.
Or I try and take a very salient point from the book, then use a personal anecdote. And in my last talk, I used my dad as an example of something, how the values between us and our parents can be the same, but the world is a completely different place. And in that, I joke about how someone asked me I get asked a lot what my death row meal would be. And I go, don't let me choose, because my dad has been married to my mum for 50 years. And I go to the crowd and I go, to make this clear, my dad could have murdered someone, got caught, gone to jail, came out, murdered someone again, gone to jail, got caught, came out. That's how long he's been with my mum, and he doesn't get to pick what's for dinner. So there's no way we should be letting inmates pick their last meal. And that's like, I'm just making fun of that. And then I'm like, okay, into a values bit. So I like to almost like jab cross with something that's informative, then bring it out of context and say something funny, which I suppose in some respects is quite unique. But it's good because I like to think people don't expect me to be funny.
Okay.
Whereas if I go out as a comedian, then, that joke kind of sucked. And if a joke bombs, I'm like, quick, get an informative slide out.
But they're clearly showing up to see you. So they find your information important to them, and they find you entertaining.
And I would like to imagine that as a PT, if I put knowledge in someone's mind, I could see them in a year and they would physically change. Then with the second book as joking as about not a life coach, they could come back in a year's time. To me, to the naked eye, they could look the same. They might not have dropped fat, gained muscle, whatever, but they could be a completely different person that now does a job they enjoy or whatever. With the third book, I get excited by the fact that I see that person a year from now and they go, I've got the confidence to leave my partner. I had the confidence to start a business. I had the confidence to chat up the girl in HR that I found really attractive. We're now married, or whatever it is. So it always excites me that I can plant information in someone's mind, see them a year later and have changed the course of their life. So I think that it wasn't like I just popped up a show and I was like, right, we're selling out this. We did a tour in 2018 where I'd go to Maidstone, there'd be like 55 people in a theatre and 3 would leave when I first said the word cunt. And, so we did that. We lost money on tours. And what we've always kind of thought is, if I can get one person to come to an event, next year they'll come back with 2 people.
Right. Yeah, people always forget that when you see a comedian in front of 10,000 people, they were the same one that did the show in front of 3 people. And one was on their phone and one left. It's like, I've had shows like that where I go and it's like, all right, guess what? You got to suck it up and make sure it's the greatest show that those 2 people have ever seen, right?
Exactly.
And that's how you pay your dues. You just brought us to maybe like this third part of your IP. We talked about confidence, we talked about diet and fitness and health, but this whole kind of life side of it is something you talk a lot about. Even the decision that you made to, stop going down this corporate path to take this job as a PT, which all your mates are like, this isn't going anywhere. Most people can't ever make that change. Everybody's a PT. It's not going to do anything. And also how you've noticed in a lot of your clients that their life choices are part of the reason they can't stick to their diet choices. Whether, like you said before, it's that relationship or that job or things in their life that aren't making them happy. So like, what are some of the things you like to remind people of as far as like career choices and then career changes and even like relationships. And we talked a little bit about the sunk cost fallacy with those things, but like, what are some of your thoughts there? Things you can share with people that look at you and think, wow, I would love to make a change like that.
So,
because you could still be in recruiting right now.
If we look at our life, we have where we work, who we're in a relationship with, and then a bit of spare time there. And I feel that if people don't get something rewarding or pleasurable from their work and their relationship, I'm not surprised they're devouring 3,500, 4,000 calories a day. Now, restricting that and leaving in the relationship that doesn't serve them and the job that doesn't serve them, they've now just removed the only thing that was bringing them happiness on a daily basis. So the second book was like a precursor to that. And I was earning really good money in recruitment, but I hated it. And people even said to me when I started, they go, "You'll earn good money, but you'll hate it." And as a 21-year-old, I was like, whatever. And then I earned good money and I hated it. And when I decided to be a personal trainer, I just wanted a job I'd be happy with. And when I was happy in my work life and I was less stressed and I wasn't having to appease a boss, suddenly the training, the eating well, everything else, reading a book was so much easier because I was happy with what I was doing. Also, I feel that people's creativity is massively shunned in the early part of their career. No one wants you to be creative when you're 21. I didn't realize I'm actually quite a creative person. I had no idea until I was maybe 25, 26. So I felt like a little bit trapped, a little bit suffocated that whole time. And I realized that when I started as a PT, I was probably making 20, 25,000 pounds a year, but I was happy. And I realized, oh my God, I'm wealthier than I was making 50,000 pounds a year in a suit, going into meetings, pretending I cared about who they were hiring. All I cared about was my commission. And I realized that I was extrinsically rewarded in recruitment because I was doing it to earn money and I was earning money so I wouldn't run out of money. Whereas when I was a personal trainer, I was intrinsically rewarded because I was enjoying it and I was enjoying seeing people do well with it. So people, I think, need to appreciate that although the biases of pessimism, bias, loss aversion, all these things play into it, if you could be happier earning slightly less money, that's a good deal. But society wouldn't ever get you to think of it like that. In your relationship, you've got to make sure that you're not remaining invested, just to not let previous time go to waste, because that is something that takes many relationships and marriages to the grave. And if people can appreciate when they've got these fallacies in their mind that are making these decisions, it won't always be comfortable, but it's important that you put your happiness first, because it's a currency we don't talk about enough, and it's a currency that inflates, deflates, you get interest on over time, all of these things. It is a real currency that really exists, and people don't give it enough importance in their lives. And whoever's rich with a currency of happiness is gonna probably have a better time living, training, eating than someone that has all the money in the world and the job title and the nice car that doesn't have happiness. And I think as a trainer, I was personal training people to get them happier. I was also giving them life advice to make them happier. And I like to think now that I'm giving them tools to make them more confident so they can be happier. Because I don't think people actually want to be fit or they want to be, or need a life coach. I don't actually think they want to be confident. I think ultimately they want to be happier with the choices they make, the lifestyle they live, and the, paying into their health that they do with fitness.
The greedy bankers are about to do it again. In 2008, they crashed our financial system and nearly bankrupted the entire global economy. Then they received trillions of dollars in government bailouts. And after, they demanded fat bonuses paid for by you, the taxpayer.
It turns out the banks haven't just been screwing the American taxpayers, they're also screwing over their investors. Turns out the banking industry is the worst place you could put your money, despite enormous taxpayer bailouts.
Now the bankers are back to take away your financial freedom. They lie and tell you that cryptocurrency isn't safe. They try to make it illegal for you to choose how to invest your hard-earned money. They lie and say cryptocurrency is used by money launderers and criminals. But look at the record. It's the banks themselves that launder hundreds of billions of dollars every year to the biggest criminal operations in the world.
Leaked documents have revealed how some UK banks have helped criminals, money launderers and Russians under sanctions.
American authorities discovered that the Sinaloa cartel moved $881 million through HSBC accounts as bank officials turned a blind eye to the illegality.
The bankers lie and say cryptocurrency is not a real investment. Meanwhile, the smartest CEOs in the world are buying billions and billions of it. The truth is that banks lie about cryptocurrency because it makes them scared. The banks take $9 trillion per year of your hard-earned money, and they are worried that they will finally be exposed. They're scared because crypto means they can no longer control your money, which means they can no longer control you. They are scared because you might actually understand your money and intelligently decide what to do with it. Now is the time for us to come together, fight back, and take control. It's time to educate ourselves, our families, and our communities. Because financial education means financial freedom. We know that cryptocurrencies will help us build the new decentralized financial system of the future. A banking system that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. A banking system where access to finance is a fundamental human right. A banking system that is free and fair and welcomes all humans on this earth. The DeFi revolution is happening. We, the people, can no longer be fooled. We choose to take control of our finances. We choose to take control of our freedom. We choose to take control of our future. Join us, and let's take back our financial freedom forever.